Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn to Love DIY. Today we're creating these very beautiful cross favors out of paper, and they serve for any baptism, first communion, confirmation, wedding, or any of your religious event needs. And this is the one that I had originally created for my daughter's baptism about a month and a half ago or so. It was a few weeks ago. Anyhow, I made a whole bunch of them in a white, and I added a pink bow to them to symbolize that I was doing it for a girl. But today I decided to do one in blue, and I'm using a very similar type of paper. It has some shimmer to it, just like the white one does. And all we're going to be doing is cutting 1 inch strips by 8 inches. So 1 by 8. And we're going to need 2 strips the same size. And while I'm cutting the paper, I would like to go ahead and remind you that you can reach me on Instagram at Learn to Love DIY, or you can send me an email at learntolovediy@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe and give me a big thumbs up. So here I'm just cutting my second piece, and I wouldn't be throwing those pieces of paper. I just happen to have this one. I used a 12 by 12 that I already had in my stash to cut down into the 1 by 8 strips. But I'm not going to go ahead and throw away what I'm cutting off of these, because I will be using that later on, and you'll see how I'll use it. And you will be needing 2 strips that we're going to go ahead and score in just a moment. So once you have your 2 pieces of paper, you're gonna need either a scoring tool or a ruler and a pencil so that you can measure 1 inches, and we're gonna score at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're gonna go ahead and flip that and score again at 1. So you're gonna have 2 different kinds of ends, one leaving a bit of a gap, and you're gonna do that the same process for both. So you're going to have a bit of a gap in the middle for both of them, and that will be your bottom. So you're going to be using that bigger piece, or the one that where you scored only once, as your bottom for both. And here what I'm just doing is varnishing, or just bending on the lines here that we've created with our scoreboard. And I'll do that for both. And then I will be using hot glue for this project. However, you're more than welcome to use any type of adhesive that you may have at home. I just felt that the hot glue was more effective and quicker to dry and to be able to create these crosses. And that's what I originally used for my favors for my daughter's baptism. So kind of like trying to follow the same things that I did. So here I'm going to go ahead and first adhere the bottom tips. So you're doing the bottom 2 score lines, and you're going to just go ahead and adhere them on top of each other to make a base. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same to the top here. And we're basically doing the same thing. We're just going to go ahead and adhere one on top of the other, and just making sure it doesn't go over the score mark there, because we will be bending this in just a moment to be able to create the cross. And I was able to get this idea off a German demonstrator off of YouTube. However, I had to go ahead and try it multiple times as I wasn't quite sure what the measurements were like. I wasn't able to translate the video. So I did give this a try quite a few times before I got the measurements right, or I think these are the ones that she used. But I originally tried several different measurements until I was able to get this result. So here, as I said, I'm adhering the top, one on top of the other layer. So I'm using those squares. And then you're going to go ahead and form sort of like a bull's head by pinching the next 2 score lines there. And you're going to be doing that to both sides. And then once you go ahead and do that to both ends, like I said, you'll have the figure of a bull's head anyway. And once you do that, you're going to go ahead and join both of those together to form the cross. As I create this cross, just keep in mind that I did my first one for my daughter, I did it in white. And this one I'm creating in blue. But if you have a theme or if you want to give these out as favors in your party, feel free to do it any color you wish because I mean, you can choose any color, any type of color, or even if you wanted to use shimmer or glimmer paper, you could do that as well. I just happen to like the way that these came out, and I added a bit of a touch of the glitter paper on top of the bows I created, and you'll see that in just a bit. So as you can see, I've already joined those two pieces that we hot glued together, and now it's time for us to build some bows. And here I'm showing you these flowers that I made with the Martha Stewart punch that you could use on top instead of the cross, if that's the the route that you want to go. Then you can just basically adorn it any way you want. So I just kind of give you a different idea other than the cross. If you don't have a die set like the one I have on the side here that I'll show you in just a moment, you can go ahead and accent it with any flower, or if you want to just keep it as is and just keep maybe a bow, if you want to keep it simple, or just kind of use up with what you have at home, you can definitely go that route. So here I just made a very simple bow off of white organza ribbon, and then I'm going to go ahead and create another one off a thinner piece of ribbon and a blue, and I had two different ones that I pulled out, and I went with the lighter one just because I didn't want it to clash too much with the color of the paper that I had already done. So I had two white ones, and then I went ahead and used the white instead. I thought I was going to use one of the blue ones, and I ended up not using either or. I ended up using just a simple white to keep the color or the colors of the back of the cross a little bit more neutral this time around, since the cross was in a blue. So here, like I said, I'm just making a very simple bow and just adjusting it to the way I kind of want to see it, or in the size. But like I said, you're more than welcome to customize it to either the way that you like it, or maybe your needs. I did give these, just as an FYI, I did give these out at church. But like I said, you can use them for any party decor or as a favor. You can actually even use this as, table favors. You can do basically whatever you want with these. They're very simple to make and very affordable, which is why I actually like them. Not only that they're very very cute, but that they really serve their purpose. So here I'm just adding the layers of bows onto my cross, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you the dies that I went ahead and used. And I'm showing you don't have to use a cross. You could use a cute little flower, or just keep it as is. Or in this case, I'll be showing you what I did with my original sample. I used the tiniest set, or the tiniest cross of the set that I purchased. I got these at Joann's a while back on clearance, and I thought they were very beautiful. And in this case, I used the smaller of the crosses. It came in a set of 5. And I did use one of the other crosses for my daughter's baptism cards or invitations. And I'd be more than happy to share the picture or maybe the process of how I created that card with you guys, if that's something that you guys want to take a look at. It was a very simple invitation card on the inside, but I did try my best to adorn the outside and step it up a notch from last year's baptism cards for my oldest daughter's baptism. And so I chose 2 of the papers, and not knowing which color I would use, since I was already using blue as the cross base. I didn't know which one to go with, so I cut both the gray and the blue. And I really didn't like the way that the gray one looked. And so I tried out the blue, and I liked that best. So I went ahead and used the glitter blue one instead. I just dabbed a little bit of glue on it and stuck it on there. So as you can see, it looks very pretty and you don't really have to do much to it. And once you have that on, and like I said, you can go as fancy or as simple with these as you want. It's really up to you. And then once I went ahead and completed this portion of it, all I am left with is to do the chocolate part. Now, I didn't have additional chocolates because we ate them all. They were really yummy. These are the Hershey Nuggets. I bought my packet at Costco because it comes with the most. And all I am doing here is from that remaining piece of blue paper from when we did our cross, I am cutting it, making sure it's 1 inch by 3 inches, and that's going to be the cover for our chocolate or our Hershey's Nugget. And I'm going to go ahead and slide it out of the current one that we have, and they're very easy to slide because I don't apply glue on the actual chocolate. I put it on the actual paper and I adhere it that way. That way they're easy to slide and easy to eat. So all I'm doing here is applying a dab of glue, folding it back down, as you can see here. And then once you have that down, you're just going to apply another dab of glue on the bottom of that and adhere it to the inside of our crust. And then once you go ahead and do that, that'll be the end of this favor, and you can do as many as you like for your guests. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe if you haven't already, and give me a big thumbs up. I really hope you've enjoyed it, like I said. And if you want to see more videos like this, please leave comments in the section below, or you can feel free to email me at learntolovediy@gmail.com. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys have a great day.